Hello everyone! Finally, we're getting to this. Sorry this is a bit late. I actually had everything ready for a few hours, but kind of struggled to just push myself to do it. The fault is entirely mine. This time I'll be covering 17 units, purely because one of them is really quick and the other one, well, I just figured might as well. So, okay. Let's get started. Let me just get my archives up, which show me your build, so I have what you had to say about this, the characters. Okay. Alright. This is NeoQuester's Anna. And he had to say... No, it's somewhere at the top. Willing to give her any skill, to be honest. Want her to be the best. I have too many skill learned. I have a lot on there. Well, that doesn't really tell me a lot of information, but I mean... Oh well. So, alright. Anna. Oh, Anna. What happened? Okay, so, first off, Ardent Sacrifice, probably not a good idea. You already clearly get to Desperation easily enough, as is. So Ardent Sacrifice is just a dead slut at this point. Reposition could be a good idea at that point. Unless you care for score, in which case, double rally all the way. The weapon, Nauton, can be useful for supporting your allies, but if you mean to use her in terms of just straight up damage, Nauton is just a steaming pile of shit. No offense there, it just is kind of what it is. 50-43 is not bad, and you will take a kind of a small drop for, you know, running Slaying Axe. Unless you run Attack Plus on the Slaying Axe, in which case you'll hit 50 attack anyway, but you'll have that cooldown -1, which always helps. Now though, the main problem Anna has in general is her damage, which means, especially since you have a summoner support, it might be paying off to be running Brazen Attack Def instead. I know it is kind of a drop, it means you go down to 24-30, but once you're at 80% or less, aka in Desperation range, you'll hit 31 defense and 30 res, which is not bad. But more importantly, your attack will just bump up to 54, and if you run Brazen Attack Res as your seal, your attack may also go up again to 61 attack, which is a lot better than what you have right now. Now, if you do that, you do lose Flashing Blade, unless you get Legendary Marth, because Legendary Marth has a C slot that is essentially giving Flashing Blade to people around them. So Marth could be a perfect candidate to go with her. On top of that, buffs all of her stat by 4, which means it's quite a bit of help, obviously. It makes it easier for her to also get in Desperation safely. Not that she really struggles. 49 HP plus 24 defense, you're still pretty hard to get one-shotted. It's just a matter of your damage might not be enough, and then that can be a bit tricky. That said, if you do run double Brazen, it might be worth running Ardent Sacrifice. Kinda. It's really not great, honestly, because Ardent Sacrifice takes too much time to get into action for the unit to even have a purpose, in my opinion, but it can still work. That said, if you run Desperation and you don't care for points for arena score, you could replace Aether for Moonbow, because if you run Slaying Axe, you're going to be able to proc Moonbow easier, which means, because it's going to be a 1 cooldown, you'll just attack and proc it, obviously, so you won't have any problem with that regard, despite not having Flashing Blade. So you'll have an extra damage with Moonbow. It's going to make it a bit easier also to kill the unit, whatever you're fighting the first time around. But it's still Anna. Anna has a really tricky stat spread to work with, so be careful on that part. You can refine the weapon for speed also, if you want to just make up for the speed or make up for the attack. Either way, those are both good ways to go around it. Like I said, Double Brazen is a great choice to fix her attack, and it's accessible. Marth with Infantry Flash would definitely fix what she has, which means you could go from a 1 cooldown to a 2 cooldown, which means you could run either Iceberg or Luna for damage, or you could still keep Aether because it's just going to charge completely in 1 round, if you think you're going to be safe enough to, you know, live long enough for Aether to get into action. Otherwise, Moonbow, and if you have Marth next to her, Luna. That's the way I see it. Like I said, Slaying Edge is probably your best shot. Wogun is also an option if you just prefer to run Moonbow with Flashing Blade support with Wodao, which is a good idea actually. You still keep the same amount of attack. You get an extra 10 damage. If you think Luna might be a bit inconsistent, this is a good option. Other than that, not much else to say. Pretty much all I can think of. Infantry Pulse should get replaced. As a matter of fact, since you still have, what, 3 res, even without Fury. And actually, again, if you use Marth to combo with her, she's going to get an extra 3 HP and 5 res, which is fantastic. This basically means just what it sounds. You'll have 34 res, 52 HP. You'll have Infantry Flash support. You'll have buffs, possibly, with Fire Emblem. You'll have 34 res, which means ploys are very consistent at that point. 30 res is still good enough for ploys. I'd recommend Death Ploy personally, because anything that can buff Anna's damage is, at this point, really required. Her bulk is good enough, her speed is good enough, her attack is low. That's basically what it boils down to. So Marth could be a good combo to make Deathploy more consistent on 5 seasons. That's basically all I have to say. Yeah. Have fun, yeah. Have fun with your Anna. Next up, this is Mike's Camilla. Which, by the way, Mike, since you're probably gonna be listening to this, I did pull attack plus res minus on George. Finally. Now we can be literally twins. Anyway, what he had to say about his Camilla was, AJ, let me preface this build by saying that I know most of it is garbage, because I wanted your input on how to build her, lol. This is my attack plus def minus Camilla. Yeah, not much luck with Ivy so far, but I plan on 4-star plus 10ing her, and I am running her in a Gold Flyer team for AA Earth season with base Sita. Bo Inoka with her normal C slot, because I didn't mind trading 1 gold for the extra mobility, and 4-star plus 10 Cordelia with the Fire Sweep support. Oh, Bo Inoka, okay. With the Fire Sweep set. Now I was thinking either stick with the boring attack plus res minus and Fury plus Desperation set, or go something different like Def plus HP minus with Brazen Attack Def plus Brazen Attack Res Seal. Wanted her in the team because I like her bulk and Camilla's axe is just busted in this kind of setting. What are your thoughts? Okay, so Gold Flyers is definitely going to stay since this is a flyer team. 7 attack, 7 speed is definitely wonderful. And they're both drives, which is good to deal with, you know, panic. The position is also a good choice. IVs definitely need to change. The special A and B kind of all need to have a bit of a change. And obviously the seal, because what the fuck is that res plus 1 going to do? So you said this is an attack plus speed minus? Attack plus def minus, sorry. Attack plus res minus is actually not the IVs I would consider for Camilla whatsoever, because she is a res tank in a world where Tiki exists, in a world where Grima exists. If she goes on the offensive, she can actually take him down. So that would actually be a terrible idea. What I would suggest is HP minus, because she's the type of unit that will most likely live a fight. She has the bulk for it, so might as well abuse it. I would also say with this team, since you're using goads, I would suggest to you running a Fortify as well, because Camilla is the type of unit that kind of needs it. She's a mixed tank, and that's literally her best trait. So if you don't actually emphasize on it, it's going to bite you in the ass, personally. Now, IVs wise, I would consider speed plus HP minus are optimal IVs, especially if you're going to go for a 4-star plus 10 or 5-star plus 10 set. 5-star plus 10 set especially. 4-star plus 10, let me just verify, because I haven't built a Camilla myself in forever, so I want to make sure that it's not a drop of 3 stat on 4-star. Alright, so you're sitting 3230 for speed, 2830, 35 to 37, a bit less defense and a bit less res. Alright. So you're going to still hit with HP minus 36 HP, actually no, 39 because of the axe. That's not too bad. More importantly, you're also going to hit 32 base attack, 48 with Camilla's axe, and 37 speed, 41 with Camilla's axe. So, okay. 48, 41. No, 52, 41. Yeah, 42, 51. 52, 41. Blah, I can't fucking count. And your defense should be around 29, 32. Okay. This is rather bulky enough, but like I said, 45 flyer definitely required on this type of team, so you can actually take full advantage of that bulk. You will be a bit fragile in term of HP. 39 HP is definitely a bit fragile. You'll still have 35 defense and 38 res, which is definitely good with 45 flyers, of course. Camilla's axe is also pretty required for her attack and speed, otherwise she's gonna be, well, struggling on that regard. Close defense could be a good choice for Seal, but double brazen is also not a bad idea. This is also a good reason why you want to run Fortify, because you want to get in a fight, you want to take damage, but you don't want to take too much damage to a point where double brazen, well, you can't really utilize it as much as you want to. So yeah, double brazen is definitely a great choice. Our attack is honestly our main issue, but if you go speed plus, well, the speed is not an issue anymore. You're sitting at 41 speed, which is not bad. That said, if there's one thing I would say here is maybe not double brazen, because brazen attack res is not a bad idea, but her speed is lackluster. Honestly, if you could do brazen attack speed, that could be a good option, but I don't think you want to go that far on investment, so attack def and attack res would definitely be a better choice. That said, you might want well, actually no, that's without buffs. I'm stupid. I'm so stupid. You'll have access to gold, so even if you have like 1 gold, you're at 45 speed. 45 speed and 56 attack, so with double brazen, that's a solid 70 attack, 45 speed. That's pretty good. Like I said, the bulk is definitely going to be a problem though. So go HP minus, because she's the type of unit that can take more than a single hit, especially if you have 45 flyer, like I said. So yeah, double brazen is a good choice. V-slot probably want to run maybe Desperation. If you don't want to run Desperation, Vantage is a good option to combo into the double brazen and the goads. As for the special, well, that really depends. Aphro could be a definite great choice, because you'll be sitting on a lot of bulk, obviously. Especially if you run Drive Def, Drive Res as Seal, or actually no, just Drive Def. I don't think Drive Res is a Seal yet, but Drive Def will actually even up your defense and res. 34-34 with the plus 10, that's 38-38, which is pretty bulky already. 38-38 with 39 HP is good, really good. Obviously specials are always going to be a problem, so be careful with these. But yeah, 70 attack is still 56 against red. You can possibly just KO a unit that attacks you that has just been like slightly harmed. So Vantage can definitely work. I would say Desperation might be a bit better though, just because that's a bit more consistent. Especially with a few more units where Vantage is just like, well, I hit once, but you're armored. What the fuck am I going to do? Desperation will be better in those cases. Especially with double brazen. If you run Fury, like if you can't afford double brazen, if you run Fury, that's 41-41 in bulk, but the sustain is going to be a problem. So that's why you shouldn't, unless you run Mia on the same team. Mia comes with Own Flyer, which is a good combo as well, but more importantly, it allows her to keep her HP up with Fury. The thing that's good with Fury, not 41-41, what the fuck am I saying? 34, no, 37-37. Yes, okay. 37-37 is good for double ploy if you want to give support to your team. Well, with your Seal slot that is. Death ploy probably would be a good choice. Otherwise attack ploy probably for Boinoka so she has more chance of tanking an armored unit. Probably also maybe getting Desperation, if you plan on running that on her. But I would recommend probably Brazen over that, because you already have so much speed, your attack is good enough, your res is still good, you still have 32 res. Yeah, 32 res. At plus 10, which means you can still run ploys if required. It might just not be as consistent. Just keep that in mind. Basically 2 set you can run. The special is really where it gets tricky. Once you're in Brazen, Draconic Aura does 21 damage. Once you're in Brazen, I believe Iceberg does 19, so Draconic Aura would be better for damage. But I would say actually maybe it's a better idea to go for Aether. I usually don't really recommend Aether unless you're going for score, but for her it's actually going to be good because she's going to be fighting for more than one fight in a row, obviously. She is built to fight multiple fights, so Aether is good. It will possibly push her out of Brazen range, do keep that in mind. But it can keep her healthy when required, so you can keep going. Really, that comes down to preference though. I can understand if you don't go for Aether, otherwise just go for Draconic Aura if what you're going for is pure damage. Anyway, I suppose that's it. Next up is Sumiya. This is Joey 21-101 Sumiya, which is attack minus, death plus. Trying to find the one. Oh, please tell me I actually did save it somewhere. Oh no, it's good, it's there. Okay, warning, long post. This is my Sumiya, who was a pain in the neck to get, but after about a month worth of free-to-play orbs, I summoned her. She is Death Plus, Attack Minus, which is a great boon, but an awful bane, but the bane is somewhat mitigated by Reprisal Lance. I mainly use her on either a mixed team or a Flyer Emblem team, where she functions as the melee wall of the team, as she gets 12 def, 12 res on enemy phase at close range, due to double close def. I've kept her native attack def link, which works well with reposition, as she can reposition on player phase and get the stats for enemy phase. Attack Smoke is there just to debuff to give more survivability to Sumia for enemy phase. I also gave her Ignis just the simple reason that it does a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage! Okay, memes aside. Alright, so... I don't think Close Death is a good A slot. That probably should have to go, actually. We just got Dorcas, who has 30 stance at 4-star. And that would actually boost up your attack and fix up your attack a little. You would hit 53 attack and still get the 4 defense, which is not bad. It's still 44 defense, 50 with attack def link. So you're still good on that regard, while on top of that actually fixing your attack a little, which is honestly the biggest problem here. Your speed is good, your def is good, your res is good, your attack is abysmal. So even with when you get attack, that's 49. If you at least run 30 stance, you're sitting at 53 attack. So 53 attack is not ideal, but it's at least an option. Another option you can do if you don't want to kill Dorcas is kill a Sylvia. This requires you to 5-star her, obviously. But she gives Mirror Stance 3, or 2, sorry, Mirror Stance 2. Which gives 4 attack and 4 res. It's not ideal, defense would probably serve you better, but it's at least an option. You do hit 55 attack because of attack def link, but more attack will definitely not hurt you at all. This will let you smack up to 59 attack, which is definitely welcomed. If you use her in a flyer team, maybe have a gold also, that would probably be a good idea. Because you have attack def link, fortified flyer is probably not that needed. So yeah, other than that, not much to say. Attack Smoke is definitely a good choice. Close Def is a good seal. It's just the attack has to be fixed. So really, just the A slot needs a bit of change. Ignis can be a bit difficult to proc though, so I would maybe go back to Bonfire instead. The whole reason is because Ignis takes a bit too long to proc, because you don't have any way to actually accelerate cooldown, which is your main issue. Other than that, not much to say. Next is Micaiah Spice Latte with her attack plus death minus Eluid. Alright, oh, and also for Sumia, try to get attack plus if you can later down the line. It's probably your best boon. I'd say attack plus res minus probably would be your best bet, because there is too many units in green that hits your defense, and a lot of reds are actually really scary, so HP minus is out of the question as well, purely because of Black Luna, for example. So you want to have res minus, def minus is just too scary to go for. Even with blue, you have Effie, which has too much attack. Same thing with Brave Vector nowadays. So yeah, like I said, res minus probably your best bane. Attack plus probably your best boon. Anyway, next for Eluid. So Micaiah had to say, why do I have 50 fucking message to find? This is my Eluid from last time. From last time, I believe she's referring to the Eluid she was talking about after I reviewed her Micaiah, because this Eluid supports her Micaiah. He is a pure magic and dragon slayer who uses ploy to increase his already stupidly high res. I can't speak. Blazing Durandal ensures a quick Aether proc, which allows him to continue fighting. As for the selection of ploys, I run speed ploy purely to avoid doubles. It places him squarely at 39 speed, which is just enough to withstand many speedy variants of dragons. Attack ploys obviously makes him even bulkier, lets him handle certain physical units. Also helps supporting your team, but she didn't mention that. I just figured it would be worth pointing out. IVs are attack plus, def minus to ensure blazing durandal is in effect. Okay, so one thing I will say here, especially since the way you built your Eliwood is meant to fight multiple fights. So going def minus is akin to shooting yourself in the foot. Whenever a unit is going to fight for more than a single fight, lowering your HP is worth it. Especially for a character like Eliwood, which doesn't matter if you go HP minus or not, he's still getting one-shotted by Black Luna, which is the big, you know, it's the big factor at the end of the day. Okay, HP, can I tank Black Luna with that HP, or can I not? I can't, so HP minus is fine. Honestly, just attack plus HP minus will do you better. And to some extent, I would actually say maybe even run speed plus instead. 34 speed is a bit shaky, personally. I would say speed plus HP minus is probably his best IVs, because that way you keep your res for ploys. As a matter of fact, you can even go res minus and your ploys are still consistent enough in a lot of cases. But HP minus is probably your best bet because you don't really lose many more matchup on a unit that just keeps healing back up anyway, so... And rarely is going to go back up to full HP anyway. So at the end of the day, HP minus is probably your best bane. Speed plus is probably going to do you a lot better. Well, a lot better. Just a bit better. At the end of the day, you'll be sitting at 42 speed, which is a bit more consistent than 39. 39 is going to struggle doubling. 42 will be doubling a lot of variants you wouldn't normally. So yeah, quick riposte is there, and that's worth mentioning. But whenever you can, it is a good idea to also be able to have some kind of offense. If you don't have any offense, there's just no point. If you fail to get, well, you can just bait them, yes, but in certain cases that will actually just explode back on your face, which is a problem. At least that's the way I see it. At the end of the day, there's no dragons that really one-shot you, so... Like, even Tiki, she only does 24 damage, but if you were to bait her, then she would get to hit twice because of Bolt Fighter. In which case, yeah, that's kind of why you want to have more speed, so you can possibly double her because of Speed Blow. If you can double her, that can actually provide possibly an A for proc, which can actually lead to a kill. Just thought I'd point that out. Attack plus is definitely good on Eliwood, it helps with his weapon, but at the end of the day, if you can get a double for certain characters, it can actually help way more than just a single hit or twice on enemy phase, where you just can't get one-shotted. Other than that, I don't have much else to say. This is a good set. It really just comes down to IVs and just changing them. I would say almost possibly Def Ploy might be a bit better, but at the same time, considering your shaky speed, it is definitely better to run speed and attack Ploy. Plus, you can probably just run, what's her name? Micaiah for whatever ploy you need on top of it. Anyway, moving on. This is Azarius' Henry. He finally got it done. My boy. And now to find your message. There it is. Now he's finally complete. I can feel good posting him. Attack plus, speed minus. Aside from the shown skill, he also has Keen Rower Wolf, or Rather Wolf, my bad. Res Refined, Brazen Attack Def, and Panic Ploy. He is a general tank doing Henry things. I've considered double Brazen on him now that the Brazen Attacks Res Seal exists. The Attack Res Seal exists. Part of my Arena Core could probably get better IVs, but these seem fine for now. Also, he has a dual rally, well, of course, for scoring. And I'm guessing also A for scoring down the line. This is definitely bulky. I'm not too sure about the IVs, actually. Also, close def would probably do you better here. Let me just verify something. I'm not sure if he has a super boon there or not. Henry is one of those characters I just don't like as a character, and I just never really bothered to even think of building him, so I'm not too sure how his IV looks. Oh, summoner support, that's why. Okay. So, if you had speed plus, you would be able to go upward to 25. That means you would be able to get to 31 speed, which is still not very consistent. I was going to say it might be a good idea to build on his speed, because you can actually get to a point where you get armored units a lot, and not many of them have a lot of speed, but this won't work too well. God, I really wish this guy actually was able to get Cliff's weapon. Because unlike Cliff, he can actually make use of it a lot more. 30 attack on Cliff at base is kind of a lot. Not much to say here, just really close def is probably going to do you a bit better when it comes down to seal. Brazen attack res could also be a good choice, helps you with dragons a little, because since then, even with the adaptive damage, it's still 4 bulk added. Brazen attack res would definitely fix his main problem, which is damage. Double Brazen is a good idea, but there's too many units that are actually hitting your melee stats, which is defense, and to some extent res because dragons, that Double Brazen will actually hurt you a lot, which is why I was kind of looking for speed plus in case of if you hit enough speed that you can actually deal with certain of them with Double Brazen, but you can't really do that, so no, Brazen would be a terrible idea here. Also, it doesn't synergize too well with Quick Repose, because that just dies. Which is another problem, so Brazen Attack Res is kind of out of the question as even a seal, so really Close Def is your one best shot. Henry is kind of that type of unit that doesn't really have a lot of options, hey? I wish I could say there was a Def base Heavy Blade, because then he would be doing a lot better for himself, but he doesn't. No, really, there's not much I can say to change. It's just basically the seal. That's it. Plus counter is damn near required too many melee units after all. But yeah, I suppose that's it. Nice Henry though, really bulky. The only thing I can really say is make sure he's supported in res and defense. Def tactic, res tactic. 44 defense and 40 res is going to do you a lot better, especially with closed def. If you're dealing with a dragon that's 50 defense and 46 res, which is definitely solid and is going to help you a lot along the line. Also, attack tactic really wants every tactic. Honestly though, if you even have speed tactic, it might actually work with speed plus. That would hit 37 speed, which is not good, not horrible. And if you go with speed plus on the weapon, that's 39 speed, which, you know, works. But as a general unit, obviously speed plus might actually be a problem for him. Not much else to say though. Well, it comes down to hopefully being paired with a unit that can buff his speed, if you go for that set, because then you can hit upward to 42 speed with just one legendary unit, obviously. And if you have that much speed, well, speed plus 3 becomes a good seal to go for, because then you have 45 speed, you're even doubling characters like Zelgus. Quick Repose becomes useless, so you can run something stupid like Desperation and be a complete meme that actually works. Drive speed can actually be added for more bonus and speed as well. Honestly, if you want to experiment with that kind of set, go for attack plus HP minus. Yes, you lose a bit on panic ploy, but who cares about panic ploy? It's already inconsistent to begin with. I would just try with attack plus HP minus and just a good deal of support in speed. But like I said, this comes down to having speed tactic, which, yikes! Either that or rally speed def. So I suppose if you run him with Quan, that would be a good idea. Really comes down to testing out. Moving on to Soleil. Alright, so this Soleil came in from Fini Magic. Hopefully I didn't butcher that one. This is an attack plus, res minus Soleil. My only completed plus 10 merge project, Soleil. Attack plus, res minus. She tends to go player phase but can take hits when she needs to. She also has Fire Sweep, Life and Death 3, and this is the set I tend to run. My main team for PvE content with her includes Soleil, Slaying Edge, Aether, DC Wrath, Basemer, Steady Stance QR, and PA Azaria for Arena. Soleil tends to stay with the other slot taken up by a bonus unit and free slot for variants. Okay, I know it's a very basic and original set. Oh my god, unoriginal set. I can English, I think. And if you can improve it in any way, please do. Okay, well, this is actually definitely not bad. Problem is really how Flashing Blade cannot be used with horses, because they're really scared of Reinhardt getting all the bonuses. Ooh, scary stuff. But, okay, so to begin with, you have 33 res and you're running tactics. I understand the reason of running tactics, but I feel like this is probably one of the worst units to run it on, because you have an amount of res. I can definitely understand running those skills, as the def really helps Mer, the attack helps Soleil, but I feel like those kinds of seal would be better on PA Azaria, unless you're, you know, going for Arena. And if you're going for Arena, well, the third unit you're going to use for variants is better off with those skills, unless, well, actually Soleil would probably want to use this in Arena, because she's just going to be a cheerleader for the bonus unit. But in AA and such, I would consider running double ploys. 33 res is consistent enough for ploys. I would say, especially defense, because her attack is extremely lackluster. And it would also help Soleil doing more damage. Attacker also, because just like Def Tactic, it helps Soleil take hits. It helps Mer take hits. It's definitely welcomed. And also, since you use Death Ploy, if you go with this set, the best part about Death Ploy is it also helps Mer for Great Flame, because Great Flame is reliant on having more Def than the enemy. So Def and Attack Ploy would definitely be helpful here. And Attack and Def Tactic would be better on someone else, especially Attack Tactic, because Soleil herself, her attack is not bad right now, but like it could have a bit more. With Attack Tactic, you're sitting at 59 attack, and if you on top of that run Def Ploy, that is an effective 64 attack essentially. 64 attack is a lot better off, let's be honest here. And 33 res is consistent for ploys. Fury Desperation is not a bad idea at all. As a matter of fact, if you're going to run ploys, Fury is almost mandatory, because otherwise you won't have the amount of res. It takes the res on your stat page without buffs in consideration when you use ploys, so Fury is absolutely required. Life and Death is going to kill that immediately. Slaying Lance is definitely solid. It's a 4 cooldown special, which definitely helps her. You could also run Heavy Blade if you're going to have Attack Tactic on someone else and you run Attack Ploy on her. as stupid as this sounds, she actually hits decent enough attack for this. She would be sitting at 64 attack, which that's the attack of a Grima outside of Fire Season. Because we all know in the Fire Season, Legendary Hector is sitting right next to this fucking sorry ass buffing him by 2, but the point is, very few unit will have enough attack for you not to just proc Heavy Blade, and that means Aether procs quicker. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It really comes down to changing your C and Seal for ploys, moving attack and death tactic to someone else, and that's kind of it. Aether is definitely good for scoring, though if you're talking about outside scoring, I would definitely recommend Bonfire or Iceberg. This will probably help you a bit more, though Aether is not a bad idea to offset Fury's recoil damage. Really comes down to preference here. Moving on next to Classy's Niles. I mean, I did say on the I did say on my video about the banner how I'm sorry that Niles is basically the worst of the banner, but it is what it is. Doesn't matter. She's probably going to +10 him anyway, and well, look where we are. So yeah, not much to say here. She's been asking me a lot of questions about this build to begin with, so I'd figure I'd point it out because, well, that's kind of just what it is, really. A lot of people are like, ooh, but Niles is just a worse Jacob. And yes, he's a worse Jacob when you take in consideration Brave Bow set. Outside of Brave Bow set, he's absolutely better in every way, shape, or form because he can actually run Special Fighter. The thing that makes Special Fighter threatening is because he can completely seal off Zelgus and Ira. He has the speed for it if he has even a little smidge of buff. I believe even a rally will make him hit 52 speed, which is enough to double Ira. Not a speed plus Carla, but speed plus Carla is a mistake to begin with. If you see one kill hit, that's a dumbass move. Oh, but there's a super boon in speed. Doesn't increase score, doesn't help enough. Most unit with speed hit at most 40. My name is Zelgus. And if you have Cora that high in Arena, she's +10. So yeah, you're already at base 44 speed. If you run just Speed Wave, you're at 50 speed. You still get the full damage from Vassal Blade even on Zelgus. Whoop-de-doo. At that point, attack is more consistent. As a matter of fact, 3 attack is the equivalent of what, 4 or 5 speed difference, except every unit with less than 41 speed, they actually take more damage versus whatever more speed you could get. Just thought I'd point that out. But yeah, Special Fighter is what makes him really broken. Guard just shuts down every red unit, which I know it's kind of a weird thing to say when it comes down to a blue versus red, and blue is meant to kill red. But there is so fucking many reds. Well, so many blues, rather, that just dies from those reds. Legendary Lucina, she requires extensive buffs to tank Ira. One hit of Ira, like if she doubles by default, she can still get one shot. That's how scary Ira can be, and Zelgus is just like, you put like multiple layer of defense, I don't care. And that's just kind of what happens. She just kind of dies anyway, because Black Luna is just a broken piece of shit. And now Erica, I don't know how well Erica is going to be. I know for a fact that when it comes down to initiating, Erica will just be fucking shut down by Niles. Because of Special Fighter. No special, no nothing. That's basically what it is, and she can't even double, so And if Niles is the one initiating, she doesn't get to the point where she can proc. Special Fighter anyway, so yeah. Kind of the point of the whole thing. it shuts down every red, and when it comes down to blue, it shuts down most of them. Hector, like Brave Hector, can be a problem because he hits so much attack, and you're meant to go attack plus anyway for the super boon. And then on top of this, as the encounter buffs death by 4 and not on top of it, and most people tend to run close death on top of it, or death tactic, or whatever. He can hit easily 50 death or more at this point, is what I'm getting at. So killing him is problematic, but for the most part, most blue he's going to deal with when it comes down to armors. When it comes down to non-armors, he also does pretty well in general. So, alright. That's pretty much it. There's not much else to say. Death Boy is not fully upgraded, but I'm expecting that to get fully upgraded down the line. I also know it has close counter. Actually, I'm stupid. Let me actually read what she had to say. Alright, time to officially show off the Husbando. He's attack plus HP minus. As a matter of fact, I think I forgot to mention this. IVs aren't changing because I spent too much to get just this much. Spent too much just to get this much. She has the goal to say this. She got the plus 10 in 720 orbs. Low-key cost me more orbs to get. Once. Fucking hell. Beside this build, he has Brave Bow and will have Guard Bow soon. He also has Life and Death, Death Blow, Brazen Attack, Death, Close Counter in A slot. His B are Desperation, Vantage, and Special Fighter. C slot has Ward Armor, Gold Armor for whatever reason. That's actually kind of a dumb move to do, but that's just me. Speed Ploy, Attack Ploy, Death Ploy, Attack Smoke, Attack Tactic, and the special are Iceberg, Glacies, Bonfire, Luna. Luna is probably what is going to treat you the best, because high defense units are everywhere, and 34 or 35, that's still only 17 damage. So yeah, Luna is better, and also just more consistent in general. If you fight another special fighter, because you have special fighter yourself, you're still proccing Luna on the second hit, unless you are on Desperation, which is not gonna work because that's a B slot just like special fighter. So yeah, he also has double rallies too. Is there anything else he might need? I'm going to use him everywhere I can, so at some point he'll get Aether or something for Arena. I just wanted to show him off since I've been talking about this for 2 weeks in Discord. Well, alright, so yeah, like you said, Aether is definitely going to be something you'll want, especially with Slaying Bow, because honestly that's just the best one. You want to either have 2 cooldown or 4 cooldown special. Aether is a 4 cooldown special because of Slaying Bow, which means you attack, that's 2 charge, get hit back, that's 2 charge, proc Aether immediately. You get the idea. That can actually deal with a lot of threat when it comes on to armor to those units. Honestly, there's not much to add here. The only thing I would say is it comes down to your friend units. Honestly, your IVs are also fine. The Death Refine kind of just fixes the stats a bit. Otherwise, Res Minus would definitely have been better. But that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Aether, and that's it. You have everything else that matters. So yeah, that's that. Let's move on to no, that's the wrong one. Corey's Fae, attack plus HP minus. Please tell me yeah, okay, good. Attack plus HP minus, looking for speed plus HP minus, which at plus 10 will make her stat line 57, 51, 40, 31, 34. Oh, okay. This build is geared toward arena support and all their skills support the team. I'm aware double stat skills don't score as high. This is just my favorite seal for her. I'm still going to mention a better seal for her. Also, I know her chill isn't her damage type, but that's more for general support of my bonus unit. That can be a bit tricky if you have to use a mage or a dragon, though. We will most likely be facing melee armors. Well, like I said, it comes down to what you're using, not what you're fighting, really. Because if you If you chill def the entire map while your unit hits res, it's like, who cares? And maybe she might use it against a ranged unit, but probably not. She's a 3 infantry. She's in a 3 infantry, 1 armor team, 2 swords, and an armor lance. Although one of the sword, Olivia, is usually swapped out for arena bonus unit. She has Warding Breath and Iceberg for her main offensive kit, but I can't use that in arena. I'm open to any C slot since the pulse doesn't do too much in arena. I believe 3840 speed for her is the ideal speed to not double, but not get doubled. Leading to chip damage for my bonus unit and Dark Breath to go into effect. 40 speed is actually a bit high, actually. Believe it or not, you're going to be doubling most units. The units you won't double includes Legendary Tiki, who's just going to rip you a new asshole anyway, because Dragon effective. Zelgius, Wary Fighter users. That's about it, really. It's not ideal. So, okay, Dark Breath. I feel like, first off, when you're going to go in the arena, you'll want a Def Refine rather than a Speed Refine, so it's a bit easier to tank, but also so it's less likely you double. There's really not that many units that are speedy. And the more you go up in arena, the more you'll notice this. I don't know what your score range is. I suppose that should be something I ask. Because when your score range is, you know, higher, the high speed unit like Ira, Carta, they just disappear. They completely disappear, and that means your speed right now is actually adequate. Adequate. Ugh. If you go speed plus, though, it is true that it's gonna be a bit better because you can just take the speed off of Dark Breath and make it into 4 def, which is not a bad idea. As for the rest, Infantry Pulse is fine, I feel like. Chill Def, like I said, really comes down to your bonus unit. If you have Chill Rest to make up for it, go ahead, that's a good idea. Or Chill Attack is probably the best one. Sadly, unless you pull a Bright Ninian out of your ass, that's most likely not gonna happen because Lady Yarn is waifu and you don't kill waifus. No, but she's the only source of Chill Attack, and I don't think she's going to be on a banner anytime soon, so it's a bit of a problem. But when it comes down to C slot, so you have 34 res. I've said this, I think, to 4 or 5 people already. Attack Ploy, probably a good choice. Def Ploy or Res Ploy, which is just basically chill def, but you have actual control on what you want. So you just inherit Attack Ploy and then you switch Def or Res Ploy as the seal. And that will just serve you better in general. Seriously, it will just serve you better in general. Chill Def is not bad, but it's not great either. But then again, B slot for 240 SP are very scarce. You have Wings of Mercy, you have Escape Route, you have Chill Def, and that's pretty much it. You don't really have any options outside of these. Ploys will definitely help you as a cheerleader for Faye, that's for sure. If you are talking about general use, Infantry Pulse will do fine, I feel like. The Seal, I will just change it to Quick Riposte, honestly. Especially if you go like Def Refine instead of Speed with Speed Plus. Because that way you can kind of control what you're doing. Certain unit you would not double, you will be able to double with Quick Riposte. And if not, if you're in Arena Assault, you can just run Speed Dark Breath, even with Speed Plus. So you can actually double those threatening units. So yeah, I would also like to point out you don't need a 240 SP slot as your B slot. As a matter of fact, don't. I would actually suggest Guard as your best B slot. As long as you have dual infantry, well, green dual infantry, you have infantry pulse, or any 240 SP slot. You have another ploy as your seal. That you run shield def or guard won't matter. You will score the same because you don't have a pref weapon to just make the difference to go up an SP bin. Since you don't go up an SP bin, guard and shield def does basically the same, except guard actually helps you more. I suppose that's it though. Time to go to the next one. And this one, I just had to add it. As a matter of fact, the first one I added was this one. I love Quan, my guy. The one thing I will say, though, let me just read what he had to say. I believe your name is pronounced Suan Wu. I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong. But I believe the name is Chinese, and it's spelled X-U-A-N, which it's an X. In school, I met someone that was Chinese actually, and her name was pronounced Xiao, even though it was an X-I-A-O. So I figured it's probably something similar like this, like Suan. I hope I'm not butchering it, but probably am. It's just kind of a thing. But yeah, to go over this, he said, were there already enough submission for Quan? You're quite literally the first submission for Quan, actually. Nature, Def plus, HP minus. The intent behind this build is versatility, primarily to function as a physical wall for any team comp while providing support. Attack Def Bond was chosen for his A passive due to his tremendous synergy with Gay Bulk, especially when pitted against non-flyers. Attack Speed Link allows it some support utility while buffing himself, which is why Swap is used as the assist skill rather than native Rally Speed Def plus. Odd Defense Wave helps to further bolster the defensive capability of allies and himself, adding 3 additional points of bonfire damage as well. Allies supported with Eflin. Okay, so where to begin? So you're sitting at 69 attack with 50 def, sometimes even hitting 56. Attack Speed Link pushes you to 41 speed, but that's a bit shaky because this requires either you or an ally to move you. It's not a bad set, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to give you my opinion of what is the best Quan when it comes down to IVs and kit, for the most part. Do understand this is a way more aggressive set, so if you're more familiar with baiting unit, completely fine. I just figured I'd point that out before starting. My Quan is speed plus, def minus. I consider that to be actually his optimal IVs. Why speed plus? He has like no speed. What is wrong with you? Well, to put it this way, let's just take your Quan for example, since yours is plus 10 and mine is plus 3. And yours is summoner support, mine is not right now. So you have a 35 speed at base. Speed plus would make that 38. With an own cav from Eflin, or attack speed link in effect, that's 44 speed. You're already extremely quick. But that's without an A slot for speed. You can go Fury or Life and Death. They both work amazingly. So, for example, if you go Life and Death, which is what I did personally, I'm most likely going to be switching to Fury later down the line. But I figured I'd point it out. Also, it's kind of funny where in the FE4 part of my fucking soundtrack. Going back to this, if you had Life and Death, that's 49 speed. And you don't lose any attack. You do lose defense, and I do realize this, but the thing is, Gay Bulk completely negates life and death, and you're still at 40 defense unless you're fighting a flyer. With Odd Death Wave, you're at 46 still. So you're sitting here with 46 defense and 49 attack. 49 speed, my bad. Yeah. As for the attack, well, you're at 69. Or 75 actually, because of own cap. 75 attack, 49 speed, and 46 death. Yeah. Though, granted, mine is Def Minus, and I did say Def Minus was best, so that would go down to 43. The reason why I say Def Minus is better is mostly because of matchups. You want to have your Def lowered rather than your Res, because your Res is already low enough as is. This can cause problems when it comes down to be dealing with dragons, certain in particular, especially green ones, which you will absolutely pulverize. But if you take damage and you don't have access to desperation, this can be a bit of a problem. Though if you have Eflin next to him anyway, well, you can just heal that back up. Yeah, and then he becomes really hard to kill. Having as much bulk as possible in both Def and Res when you have a healer on board is absolutely vital, honestly. So this would definitely help your Quan if you go for speed. It would make him far more aggressive, obviously, but even though he loses a bit of bulk, he actually does a lot better. And this opens his seal slot, because let's be honest, 49 speed is good enough, I think. And then you'd add on top of that something like Grima buffing his speed or something, just to be extra silly. Yeah, you end up having a lot of bulk, good speed, good attack, and even if you're not fighting a flyer, you still have 70 attack. Travent be damned. Your seal, as I said, is open, so if you're going to be running Desperation with own Cav on Eflin, you can do two things. Run Glimmer Heavy Blade Desperation, or run Brazen Attack Res to make up for your Res stat. If you're in Desperation, which means your healer is a bit less important, but it can be really important when, you don't go well in a fight unless, you can just bait it. But if you bait it, you would die unless you heal. Well, this is a good example of where it would be useful. Or calculated heals that keeps you into Brazen range. Another good example. So, yeah, that's just what I feel would be ideal. With Brazen Attack Res, you're sitting at 82 attack. This is stupid. You have Blade Tome levels of attack. Come on. And if you really don't like Life and Death for the loss of bulk, and you're planning on running Brazen Attack Res because of what I said, a great example of something you could do is Brazen Attack Death. Or Brazen Attack Speed, actually. If you have Brazen Attack Speed, you're sitting at 51 speed the second you hit Desperation. But since you're using a healer, Life and Death is probably going to do better for you. Fury is also a better option if you want to just maximize on that bulk. Definitely a good choice, so you have a bit more res. Dealing with Grima, for example, will possibly be a thing, because you just hit so fucking hard. I know my Quan was hitting something around 76 attack during my arena run. I killed so many green armored units. I face tanked an Ephraim and bodied his ass with my Quan. Granted, that was with arena bonus, but my Quan is +3, yours is +10. So yeah. Now, with that said, what about the set itself? How well does it work? It's a bit strange. I'm not too sure how well this is gonna work, because I don't know what characters you're using him with outside of Eflin. Because sometimes you will want to actually be the one, initiating. Also, another thing about the set I'm using, I use Gale Force. Just thought I'd point that out, because that way I can use Heavy Blade, Gale Force, because I already have so much fucking attack. and it insta-charges it with Desperation. So I can just go right ahead again. But yeah, going back to this, it can be a bit awkward to activate attack speed link for Quan. You can definitely buff your unit, which is definitely welcomed, but it can be really awkward for him. Swap is really good for attack def bond, I definitely agree with that one. Not too sure about Bonfire. I guess it works since you don't have anything to give you extra charges, but that's pretty much it. Steady Posture is a good choice if you want him to still be able to somewhat double with buffs. That's 45 speed. So you don't need Quick Riposte anymore, which means you can actually run Heavy Blade, which means you get hit, you attack. If you don't get double because Bold Fighter bullshit, you will attack again proccing Bonfire. I figured I'd point that out because a lot of people think Steady Posture is not great, and for good reasons in most cases, but Quan is one of those units that has just the amount of speed where just a bit more is really good and can definitely help. Rest of the kit is really good. It's definitely based mostly on bulk. 56 defense is great, don't get me wrong, but the set I mentioned with Fury ends up having so much speed. Even with Fury, you have 47 speed and you lose 2 def, 2 attack. But hey, 3 more speed, 3 more res, you take recoil, but Eflin heals it. Yeah, I know Fury is basically a meme at this point. I know it's overused as shit, but it is a damn good skill, especially in this setting. Other than that, I don't have much to say. This is a really good set, by the way. I know I kind of went on and on about my own set. This is not to belittle you, but just figured I'd point that out because most people don't even see this set. They're like, 29 speed, that's too slow. And then they saw my Quan in fucking arena with 50 speed, and they're like, oh, that's an option, huh? Yeah. If you want to see my Quan in action, actually I think I have my arena run on this channel. Somewhere. Yeah, I do actually. I'm pretty sure I do. But yeah, that's about it. Let's move on. We're already past an hour and I still have like 8 build to go through. So Aversa, this is a quick one. This is actually the quick one I had in mind. This one is definitely quicker than normal, because I don't have much to say here. Okay, Discord, can you just... No? Oh, okay. I click on the text and it just give me a poop image. Can I just see what the fuck he says? Thank you. Well, I finally got to use my 5-star Tarja on something worthwhile. She's gonna be on my flyer team, so she's gonna be getting emblem buffs. I gave her HP speed 2 at the moment, but she's gonna be getting Fury once I max out Inata's hero merit. I gave her Draconic Aura and Heavy Blade because I believe both of these take into account Blade Tome buffs. They do. And also Draconic Aura can be procced every other fight. I believe that's better than getting Moonbow first fight and then getting outclassed by Draconic Aura after. That is completely true. Draconic Aura with Heavy Blade on the Blade Tome is actually extremely potent. The reason why it is so good is just because it keeps all the buffs from Blade Tome. So for example, you have 46 attack here. You have an extra 30 attack because of Own and 45 cav. Which means you're at 76 attack, and with Fury that's 79 attack. Draconic Aura gets a bonus 23 damage, and that completely breaks the combat triangle with that much attack. At that point you can even kill stuff like Brave Actor with little to no issue, whereas Glimmer will struggle because it's only going to just be slapping an extra 10 damage, whereas this gives 23. To put it simply, Glimmer is really good for red and green when it comes down to Aversa, but Draconic Aura will help you deal with blue matchups if you have to deal with them. It just comes down to be smart enough about you know, dealing with the right matchup. This is a very basic set of Aversa, and all she needs is Fury. It's very basic, but I invite literally anyone to make it. Why? I have a red flyer already. Doesn't matter. Red mage flyers are some of the best, and I mean the best, when it comes down to, well, mage flyers. Reason being, most armored units are green, Legendary Hector is green, Grima is green, and both of those are very consistently there. She one-shots both because she's red. Zelgier, she also one-shots in most cases. If she does need a special, there you go, there it is. There's really not much to say here. It's a very basic set, but very good for arena. If you have an own flyer, make a team with own flyer, 245 flyer, and gold. If you don't have 2 own flyers, and that's like a team that's an instant win essentially for arena. There's no reason for you not to build her. I literally have a speed plus res minus Oloinawi, which is optimal and better than Aversa. I have Summer Tana, which with pretty decent IV. Oh, by the way, both Naui and Tana are +1. And even then, I immediately 5-starred her. That's just to give you an idea of how potent this is. Moving in to this Marissa from Typho. Oh, also the Aversa was from Swift Buzel, if I didn't mention that. I know how to pronounce this word, but my brain does not comprehend. It's fucking annoying. Isa-chan, where are you? There it is. The idea is just to have a very tanky Marissa. With Brazen, she gets 42 defense, and if procced with Death Wave, that's 48 defense. If I wanted to S support 50 defense, and yeah, it's just something fun to do for the meantime. Alright, so Typho was essentially just mentioning this this idea, and then a bunch of people were talking about Marissa, so I'll be talking about Marissa as a whole, rather than just a little. This is not a bad idea. However, here's something that you could do instead. Running Double Brazen. Double Brazen will fix her poor ass attack, because let's be honest, 45 attack is not good enough. 59 attack will be good enough, but it's better to go for a speed refine at that point, because you have 40 speed then, and you want to have a partner that buffs your speed in some way. Hopefully by 6, but 4 can do. That's basically it. 44 speed with 59 attack on top of 40... Well, without Wodao, that's 44 defense and 28 res is not bad. At that point you have decent enough attack, you have good speed, your def is pretty solid, Bonfire hits like a truck, and that's that. Another option you could do is probably run Slaying Edge instead of Wodao. Slaying Edge is more consistent, obviously. If you do that, obviously still refine it to speed. Brazen attack speed is a good option if you're going to go all out for her. Otherwise, just go Brazen attack def and run Flashing Blade with speed refine and with a buff into speed. This would mean only 52 attack, which is on the low side, mind you. But, and also you can just buff it by attack tactic, in which case you hit 58 attack, which is not bad. But once you hit Desperation, you can hit and then prog Bonfire immediately. This is upward to an extra 22 damage, which is extremely solid. Just figured I'd point that out as an extra set you can use on her. Alright, now we're getting into fun stuff. Well, one fun and then one simple, then one fun. This is already... I feel like this video might get to the 2-hour mark. I hope it won't. So, alright. This set, I have a few issues with it. It's very simple, really. But first, actually, let's get the guy that actually posted this. Also, this is speed plus HP minus. Before I forget, this is from Ismail Emblem, and I believe actually he just said speed plus HP minus essentially, and left it at this. Oh boy. Okay, so here's the issue with this set. It's a very simple one. You run Steady Breath and Sack of Gift, which is really good, in tandem with Darting Stance, makes him a pretty good enemy face monster. 46 speed, that's pretty good. 56 attack, that's pretty good. 45 dev, that's pretty good. And on top of that, also 26 res, yeah, that's pretty good. Here's the one issue though. Aether is 5 cooldown. You get 2 cooldown per fight. I think you see where I'm going with this. If you prevent the double from happening on the enemy side because of that speed, what happens is you get hit, 2 charge, you hit back, 2 charge, you don't have Aether ready, you hit again normally. Unless that's the goal, I honestly would run Slaying Edge or Irvan. It really comes down to if you want to have more speed or not. Yes, Slaying Axe is straight up a downgrade for the most part for Irvan, but Irvan lost a lot of utility because unless you fight a Brave Weapon, it's basically doing nothing for the most part, unless you're the one initiating, obviously. And with that amount of speed, Irvan basically has no extra effect, so it's just a 16 might beat stick. However, a Slaying Axe, while having less might, 2 might, will allow you to get 5 more HP and 3 more speed. So if you run Slaying, get attack, hit back, proc Aether, since you hit defense instead of res, usually you won't be killing too quickly unless they're blue, and if they're blue you don't take that much damage. So yeah, Slaying Axe is definitely better here. Unless the goal is to straight up just kill with the first 2 hits, then attack another target, healing yourself back with the maximum damage you can get from it. Then yeah, okay, that totally makes sense, but otherwise Slaying Axe is just going to be a straight upgrade to this. Chill Speed is also really good. Synergizer is really good with this set. Really, like, this entire set is pretty fun and interesting to just think about playing. It just comes down to, you know, changing the weapon, personally. But yeah, that's about it. Next up, we have a Nephany. This is from Jet Black, son of Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog. So essentially he says, Speed plus Def minus, would like a better IV, but she works right now really well. You only really have 1 set of IVs that could actually be better than what you already have. Honestly. Because Def minus is honestly the best Bane you can have on Nephany for general purposes. If you go any lower on res, you will struggle. Especially with Tiki, a +10 Tiki, for example, say you're fighting that in Arena Assault, can possibly one-shot you if you go res minus, and if you go HP minus, same result. Quite a few armored unit can just do, well, Dragon armored unit. Back when only Grima was there, I could definitely agree with this, that Def minus was not great for her. But now that that's the case, Def minus is just optimal, honestly. As silly as this is. So, why did I say the IVs could actually get better? Attack plus is a bit better because this is a armor killer. So since this is an armor killer, you want to abuse as much as you can the extra attack. If you're going to also be running Bonfire, I would straight up say don't. Yes, you have 40 defense. Yes, this is 20 damage. Moonbow will be more consistent. Also, that's 30 damage with Wrath. Wrath will not insta-charge it. That's the problem it has. If you run Moonbow instead, Moonbow has one nice little thing, and that it's the insta-charge of Wrath. So even if you just procced it and you have like no charge at all for the next turn, start of the next turn, if you are under 75%, bam, Wrath is ready. Which means Moonbow also doesn't rely on defense, which means you don't lose 4 damage when you're initiating. So it goes from 2030 to 1626, whereas Moonbow, say the enemy has 30 def, that's 919, which is less but more consistent. That's just the way I see it personally. Unless you have Steady Breath, Bonfire is not worth it on her. That's pretty much it, really. Darting Stance is good with her weapon. This is also one of the reasons why I say Speed Plus is not great for her. Because if you're going to use the set effect, you're already sitting at upward to 49 speed. You don't need that much. Even if you lose the Speed Plus and go down to Attack Plus, you still have 46 speed, Carla doesn't double you, Ira doesn't double you, you're fine. And on top of that, if they hit you and do enough damage, well, Wrath procs and you one-shot them because Moonbow. So even if they had the speed, it wouldn't matter. Just thought I'd point that out. There's not really much else to say. The rest of the set looks fine. At least for general purposes and not arena scoring. That's about it, though. Let's move on. This is a very peculiar Halloween Mer. Leah tends to have some very, very strange idea. This is a Speed Plus HP minus Mer from Leah. Leah's been the data miner that has helped me a few times on this channel in the past, actually. So, alright. This is a bit of a meme build, but definitely works. This is 39 speed when you attack her. 39 speed Halloween Mer kinda just stops a lot of doubles to begin with. There's one thing I'll say though, if you have someone buffing your speed by 6, and you have Darting Stance, you already have 39 speed. At that point, Brazen Attack Def might be better, because remember, Spirit Breath is reliant on defense to double. So Brazen Attack Def would give you an extra oomph with your attack, and would also make Spirit Breath more consistent. Another reason why you want to make Spirit Breath more consistent is because then it becomes a speed check for certain units, such as Mer, the other Mer, and Grima. Not Grima, Hector. Hello, cat. So, as a result... Oh my god. You needy little cat, come here. All of the purring. Anyway, to go back to whatever we were doing, this would give you an extra 50 defense, which means you double a unit with 45 defense or less. You have an extra 7 attack, which is an extra, well, upward to 14 damage, because of Spirit Breath. So it's definitely a lot better, and at the same time, if you have the buff, you still have 39 speed. That's good enough for the most part. Vengeful Fighter is there purely to give charges, completely understandable. Especially with Darting Stance 6, you get hit, you hit back, that's an extra 2 charge, that means you have Bonfire ready, you proc Bonfire ready immediately after because they can't double. This is the kind of logic behind this. I will say though, one thing you could also do with this set is run Speed Ploy, because if you run Speed Ploy, you don't need Darting Stance 3 as the A slot anymore. Which means, well, why not, essentially. Another thing you could probably do is Brazen Attack Speed as the A slot. I wish Brazen Speed Def was a thing, but it's not. Brazen Attack Speed will actually improve your damage, keep your speed multi-phase, and just in general help you a lot when it comes down to just busting out ass, essentially, for lack of a better term. Yeah. There's not much else to say here. Pretty cool build, though. Let's move on. I know, we're fucking almost 90 minutes in. I only have 4 builds left to go through. 3, I can't count. This is Bull, Brave Lucina, or is it? I think. Let me just verify something real quick. Okay, good. No, I was right. Okay. Because bull is a French word, so I was like, wait, shit. Because there is a French build around here, so... Alrighty then. Oh fuck, about Leah also. I completely missed to mention what she had to say. I'm so dumb. Oops. 3 plus HP minus, I run her on a partly mixed dragon team. Female Corin plus 10, she has Fortify on and Mer normal with own dragon. So okay, so she does get the plus 6 speed. So at that point, Brazen Attack Def might be better. No need to have 1,000,000 speed. Also run Chill Speed Flyer Olivia, so Mer would have a higher chance to double anything enemy phase. I don't think that's a problem, especially with Vengeful Fighter, but you know. The one thing I would say though, before we move on to this Celica, is that the one thing that makes Darting Stance so good, and also by extension the Vengeful Fighter, is well, for Darting Stance there's just no HP threshold, and Vengeful Fighter it's a low threshold. Might want to abuse this and run Aether instead. Because Aether will just completely charge in one fight. So if you want to stay healthy, this is a great idea. Just will just is going to keep your HP up, which just means you'll be able to tank more. Not much else to say. Anyway, now to actually move to Celica. Sorry for almost forgetting to read what you had to say. Really sorry. Okay, so... Okay, there it is. My Slaylika. Oh boy. Attack plus HP minus. She kills stuff. That is the goal. Usually paired with Shield Dev Guidance, Sita. Smasher build for Arena and Royal Sword build for PvE with Dancer and Healer. Okay, I do remember having something to say and I completely forgot. Like, I remember having something to say about this set. Ah, yes. Royal Sword is not a bad weapon, but because of Double Lion, you'll hit twice, and you'll get 4 charge. The problem that this has is that Gale Force is 5 charge because of Royal Sword. So what I would do instead of using Royal Sword is just replace 3 attack by Heavy Blade or Flashing Blade. Flashing Blade would actually be a bit better. Gives you a bit more freedom of movement also. And switch Royal Sword to Slaying Edge. I don't know why they do so many pref weapons that are just better off switched out, but it's just what it is, I suppose. The reason why I say Slaying Edge is better is because then you have 4 cooldown, Heavy Blade fully charges this with Double Lion, you heal, you attack someone else, you still have double lion up, and you're charging up Gale Force for the next fight. At the end of the day, you gain 5 HP at the cost of 2 attack. Makes it a bit better to tank if you have to tank something. For example, a Brave Hector, that's a good idea. Well, you'll be using Armor Smasher for this, but you get the idea. The rest is pretty standard. This is basically what I would suggest to run on the Erica. One thing though, instead of attack refine, I would go for a def refine. It's always better to go for a bit more bulk to be able to take a hit if needed. Pray tell, you don't actually need it, but considering after Double Lion she loses a lot, and I mean a lot of steam, having more bulk is definitely more useful than that extra 2 attack at the end of the day. But that's it, everything else looks fine. So, moving on to this Barter right here from CJ, or CG, no it's CJ. God damn it, my French is ruining me. Bartre is my dad. Well, that's gonna be a problem if a video game just gets someone pregnant and then that's how you came to be, but so I pulled him a Nel Bindi and he'll get dual infantry soon enough. I'm trying to make him part of my arena cheerleading gang and I've got all of his necessary merge copies ready. I'd like guidance on Ivies. Okay, guidance, I was like, what the fuck? This is a infantry unit. Oh. Too much Fire Emblem heroes. On Ivies, he's attack plus HP minus as of now, and potentially skills barring his A slot. Oh, okay. Every skills here can pretty much be ignored as this is just arena scoring thingy, arena assault things. Majority of the buff I'm running right now are invisible, but the visible buff we'll be running on the foreseeable future is strictly rally speed def on Sheena, a pre-existing cheerleader. Skill of note at the moment, close guard 3. Alright, so let me preface this before we start. This is a cheerleader, so I'm going to just point this one very important thing. Agoita. This is the weapon New Year Azura has, and she's coming back in 2 months. A bit more than 2 months, but close enough, really. The reason why I point this out is because if you're going to make him a cheerleader, Agoita is the best weapon for it. It buffs defense and res by 2 as a drive, for free. And it kind of just makes you worse in battle, which is fine for a cheerleader, so yeah. Oh my god, cat, I swear to god, I am going to shift you. Meow-chan is in the house. He never meows when I hold him, thankfully. So, alright. If you go for scoring, Aether is definitely the best special. Otherwise, you'll be wanting to run Bonfire instead. It is also a good idea to run Heavy Blade. Jesus Christ, cat. Sorry about that. It is also possibly a good idea to run Heavy Blade with Aether, or possibly Gale Force, depending on if you're running Slaying Hammer or Slaying Axe. I would probably need to ask Bartre. There's someone called Bartre in another Discord. He has a better idea of Bartre in general. I could probably introduce you to him, maybe, I'm not sure. But I figured I'm going to give it a try, obviously. But so essentially, Slaying Hammer is probably going to be one of your best options because of the attack. He's going to get an extra 6 speed also because of Sheena. So if you go for Slaying Hammer, go with Speed Plus, with a Speed Refine. The reason why is because I believe he has 25 speed at base, which means 29 with Speed Plus. That's 20. So If you, on top of this, if you go with a speed refine, that's 32 speed. On top of this with rally speed dev, that's 38 speed. That means you'll be able to double plenty of armored unit and by consequence kill them. Which means if you run heavy blade, you'll be able to just proc something like Luna or Bonfire pretty consistently as well. As for the A slots, Life and Death is an option, Fury is an option, if you go with those IVs. Otherwise, Attack Death Bond is a good option also for bulk. It is on a very unfortunate unit though, being obviously Owain. Which means Blue Flame is just a better investment. Fucking great. But I figured I'd point it out. It really comes down to if you want him to be aggressive or defensive. Other than that, the C-Slot can really be anything. It comes down to what you want to support. Tactics, drives, those kinds of things are probably what you want. B-Slot really comes down to whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. Brash Assault can be a good choice. A Breaker skill can be a good choice. But if you're talking about just general use in the long run, probably a Chill skill could be a good idea. Debuff stats for your friend unit. I would say attack obviously is going to be your best one. If you don't have it, well, yikes. B-slots don't really have a whole lot of choice, do they? A-slot, like I said, Fury, Life and Death is what I would use. That's just me. So alright, moving on to the last unit, which is Luke, and everything is in French. So for those who are not in the know, I know French, and I'm going to just explain what is what. Fire Meurtrier, that means Slaying Edge, that's the first one. Inversion, that means swap, that's the second one. The third one is Bonfire, Feu de Joie. Third one is Fury, then Lunge, then Panic Ploy, then HP plus 5, obviously. Alright, so this is a Luke. This is a Luke. Where is it? Ah, there it is. This is the Luke who broke my hopes to get Aloin Mirror along with Katarina in the same summoning. That's kind of ironic because they were released side by side. He is speed plus and HP minus, and I decided to make something decent with him. He's a pretty nice addition to my cavalry team. If he gets the full buff, he becomes pretty nice. Okay, so yeah, he definitely gets pretty good. There is one thing I would say, however, and it's, well, pretty simple, really. Panic Ploy with HP minus is not great. 50 HP is not enough, personally. So I would just switch it to an Own or Fortify Cav to support the other Cav units. HP plus 5 is now free as a result. You can probably try to run Heavy Blade, possibly. It might be a bit inconsistent though. And since you already since you're not running Desperation, it doesn't really matter. Speed plus 3 for more consistency could be an idea. Attack plus 3 is also a good idea. Brazen Attack Rest could also be an idea if you plan on using Desperation, because then you hit 64 attack, 43 speed, and 39 def, 36 res, which is pretty bulky all around. Not much else to say. B-Slot, if you run Brazen Attack Res, is probably gonna change to Desperation, obviously. It is a bit bad because you won't be able to proc really consistently. So if you have a healer, just drop Desperation altogether. Lunge is a good idea, actually. That's pretty much all I have to say. B-Slot doesn't really have a whole lot of choice, that's the problem. But this is a decent set. It definitely makes use of everything Luke has to offer for what he has to offer. And yeah, I believe that's it. I have covered every single build I had to cover. So, okay. Speaking about the next choose me your ninja. What the fuck am I saying? The next show me your build. This one is going to be on the 16th of November, obviously. I would like to say something in advance though, depending on when the update hits, depending on how quick I am to go through all the updates, the updates content, I might have to push it a day or two if I need to, or I feel the need to. The last how do you call this? The last update with the Abyssal mode unit, that kind of just took so much time. I had almost no time for myself because I kept working on video after video after video, and after one time I just lost all my motivation. I don't want that to happen, so if I need to, I'm just going to take a break. So if it's not released on the 16th, I'll most likely have an announcement on my Discord pointing out why. And if you're looking forward to it and you're not in my Discord, so you don't know the news, well, I just suggest you to join, I guess. Other than that, not much else to say. This was a nice show me your build. Sorry if I was a bit too into details. I know I did definitely go a bit too in-depth at times, but it's always better to give more information than not enough, I feel like. That's just the way I see it. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Have a nice one, everyone.